Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back with our video here today. And sorry, I just realized my water's right next to my keyboard. Probably shouldn't keep that there. Hope you are doing all right today. Today we are going over the NFL Week 7 results and kind of talking about my thoughts so far for the season. Now that we're pretty much we're getting close to the halfway point of who's real, who's not. I'll probably do again some other analysis videos here in the near future as we kind of get to the halfway point. But I'm kind of excited to see how all this shapes up and how all these games actually kind of analyze and went. This probably was my least watched week of football just because I actually didn't go anywhere to actually watch the games actively, so I kind of just kept track of them on my phone. Eventually went back and kind of watched the highlights in passing. But it's also my earliest recording this video, I think. No, I'm kidding. That was a complete joke. But hope y'all do enjoy the video. Leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and comment any suggestions for future videos below. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Stay hydrated, kids. Because I'm staying hydrated. I'm rocking and rolling. Let's do this stuff. First of all, Thursday night game. Wow, the Saints suck is the key thing here. The Broncos looked. This is the game I actually did watch. Because believe it or not, I like the Broncos. Bo Nix didn't look amazing, but like he was moving around and he's aware in the pocket, so that's cool to see. But it's like what did he really do? Great, not really. Kind of just played well, and the Saints played really bad, low effort football. Javonte was dominating that defense. Jaleel McLaughlin even got a lot of love to dominate that defense. It was a brutality, dude. It was a brutality. So it's whatever. Receiving, Troy Franklin may just be the number one there now, because of course I knew in the very beginning that Troy Franklin and Bo Nix had that connection, but is that actually going to come to fruition? I think he had the most targets, or tied for the most targets. Lucas Kroll's getting more involved outside of Adam Trautman. Very interesting indeed. I'm wondering how that will kind of shape up long term, but maybe Lucas Kroll, startable tight end, for the Denver Broncos, type deal. Defense, I mean, the Broncos defense has been like legendary this season. Despite there being almost no name values, they have been pressuring quarterbacks so much, either getting sacks or getting pressures off for incompletions. And this was no different. Spencer Rattler just did not look good at all. Now, granted, that's because Spencer Rattler isn't good. Granted, he didn't make any like big interception mistakes, but like he just looked awful. Constantly they were punting. Alvin Kamara, Kendra Miller couldn't get anything involved. Spencer Rattler was running around that pocket like nothing else. It looks like Cedric Wilson Jr. Was the main target there today, outside of Bub Means. Bub Means and Cedric Wilson Jr. kind of the two people that were trying to get something going without Chris Olave there. Alvin Kamara also got a lot of weird snaps in the first half that were pointless, so they just kept on playing. It was weird, really weird. Saints are really poorly coached, is what I'm realizing. Saints defense did nothing though. I mean, they made the Broncos offense look very, very fucking good. Whoops, don't want to. Boom, there we go. So I mean, I'll anticipate the Broncos. They'll kind of be an outside looking in playoff team, I think. But man, the Saints are going to be one of the worst teams if they keep this up. In London, Jacksonville over the Patriots. Nothing too notable. Drake May looked good. Is the most notable thing to me. I mean, Jacksonville also looked good, but Drake May actually looks really, really promising. The run game was non-existent because they were behind the whole time. Hunter Henry continues to be like the main lean-on target for Drake May, so I think he's very reliable. And JaMycal Hasty kind of coming out of nowhere, getting more and more involved. Outside of all these other fucking people, DeMarco Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, even Antonio Gibson, Jalen Polk, everybody else, all those three guys are being, were the anticipated users. No, JaMycal Hasty. It's very, very interesting. Patriots defense did nothing. The Jags defense was, or Jags offense was just tearing them apart. Trevor Lawrence, you would think was a big instance of that. No, I mean, he did well, I guess, but like Tank Bigsby is the guy. I mean, he's the guy. If Travis Etienne starts, I don't know what they would be doing. Brian Thomas Jr. is the number one there now. Christian Kirk is more a good supplemental person, but now that Evan Ingram's back, Christian Kirk's kind of been reduced to that third person role. Defensively, Jacksonville, like I said, looked pretty good. I mean, they put pressure on Drake May, but honestly, not as much as I thought they would. And Drake May didn't make any mistakes. I mean, they just made stops. And while I don't think Drake May looked horrible, he just didn't get down onto those third down conversions. That's really what was the key of it. Otherwise, there was a touchdown on, putt return from Parker Washington, 96 yards, pretty damn good. But Jacksonville actually looked like they had semblance of a team this game. I don't think it's going to be a big increase. I think both these teams will still be bottom of the league. But I think Jacksonville will be closer to 6-11, 5-12 by the end of the season at the very least. Lions Vikings, probably game of the week. This game was pretty awesome, both offensively and defensively. Lions without Aiden Hutchinson did struggle a little bit in the pressuring, but they kind of got something else together by the end of the game. Jared Goff still looking good on offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Montgomery did get hurt. That's why his numbers are probably lower, and he didn't convert as well. Jahmyr Gibbs was going out there and dominating, showcasing that, everybody wanting Jahmyr Gibbs to start and do good stuff. He's very, very capable of it, but David Montgomery, of course, it's smart to have that split backfield. So I'm curious to see how long David Montgomery's out. I don't think it's very long, but it's still very notable. That run game needs to stay healthy for them to be a dominant force. I think the Lions are genuinely, after this game, the second best team in the NFL. Amon-Ra, he's the number one guy there. That's not going to change. So Jameson Williams was suspended, so we'll see how the second target share goes, because Sam Laporta has not been getting a whole lot of love. Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond to get more involved. But outside the running backs, who's really going to be the guy to step up there? Defensively, like I said, they struggled a little bit, but a lot of these sacks came in the second half. Interception, of course, was pretty good too. They did pretty all right. Aiden Hutchinson, of course, losing him was a pretty big blow, but this gives me a lot of confidence, at least in the long term, for the Lions. And of course, this is a divisional game, and of course, this is against a good offense from the Vikings. So I'm going to give them a little bit of benefit of doubt in this one. And so, the Vikings may have lost their first game of the season, but we got to give them credit. All right, listen, this is not a game that hurt their stock. This game actually probably helped their stock, because I genuinely do view the Lions as a top 3 team at the very least. And the Vikings, despite it being, of course, a divisional game, so you should kind of expect that, the Vikings competed damn well. Sam Darnold looked good. Aaron Jones on the ground did his job. Justin Jefferson was the guy this game, and he showed it. Jordan Addison was good supplemental, but, not as much involved here. Naylor, also pretty good 3 in this offense, so very, very good stuff. And they don't even have TJ Hawkinson back just yet. I think he's going to be a game or 2 out, but very, very cool. Vikings defense, as always, even against one of the best O-lines in the league, the Vikings were eating Jared Goff up. Now, granted, it wasn't like big changes, but they were making stops. They were getting him down. Granted, of course, it's still a high-scoring game, but still, for a 30-point game, both these defenses actually played very, very well, especially as the game went on. So I'm very impressed with the Lions and the Vikings here. They both are going to be competing for, unfortunately, one of them for the number 1 seed and one of them for the division title. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Titans-Bills, nothing to note. Mason Rudolph is not great. Tony Pollard is still one of the bright sides of this offense. Ridley still can't catch worth shit. Hopkins is still not involved, but traded to the Chiefs now. Shout out to Hopkins and my fantasy team. Hopefully that works out, because I need something to work out after my horrible trade. Tyler Boyd may just be kind of the guy there after Hopkins is gone now. Maybe Tyler Boyd's the lean-on receiver. Then again, they still got a tight end. I'm not going to try to say his name because I always mess it up. Titans defense, though, pretty bad. Jarius Sneed, I didn't even realize, is one of the worst corners in the league right now. So, good job, Titans. Good job. Then we go to the Bills. Bills, obviously, in this type of environment, are going to do very, very well. Run game wasn't that efficient, but Josh Allen pretty much, put the team on his back. Keon Coleman, breakout game. We'll see if that holds up. Mark Cooper, first game in Buffalo, looks damn good. This is going to be a scary offense, because now, at the very least, they're going to start turning their attention to Mark Cooper and giving Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir some opportunities there. And even Dalton Kincaid made some very crucial plays. Dawson Knox probably going to be out for a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. Buffalo defense, not like fabulous, but they never have been great. They've just been very, very reliable. So like a good fringe top 10 type team. Titans will be competing for that number 1 seed. Buffalo Bills, very, very good. So some people say they're fake. They're 5-2. They're looking good. I like the Bills this season. Both these teams should be kind of bouncing back soon, but this is kind of the battle of the poverty this week. Dolphins, Colts, both of them looked not very good, but it's because both the teams are not at their full strength. Tim Boyle, Tyler Huntley, without Tua there, it's very, very tough for them to get anything going. 2-4 right now. It's lucky they had a bye week early on so Tua could recover. But yeah, their offense is in shambles. I'm not going to say it. Like, their passing game is atrocious. Achane getting a lot of involvement. I anticipate him being a very, very good running back in the latter half of the season. Raheem Mostert will get some love too, so I'm not too worried there. Jalen Wright will get his fair share of targets too. Jonnu Smith, of course, being a tight end, probably is the biggest benefactor for now. Otherwise, kind of just going down for garbage receiving yards, basically. Actually, Tyreek Hill only got 1 reception. Wow, that's bad. Dolphins defense does not look great this game. Granted, they got stops. It's the whole thing about, like, lower scoring games is that at the very least, the defense may not have put up stats, but they just made the game go slow, or they killed clock, which both these teams did. Anthony Richardson did not look good at all, but hopefully as he gets back into the swing of things, he should get a little bit better. Anthony Richardson, good rushing yards. Outside of that, I guess the other 2 running backs did all right, but like, they wasn't anything too special. Michael Pittman getting involved again, so maybe he's actually going to be an important piece of that offense. Everybody else kind of just going for garbage time. Goltz, not great on defense, but, like, again, enough to slow down the game. Both these teams I anticipate still being outside looking in on the playoff spectrum. We'll see. Maybe one of those teams can kind of make a big push, but I don't know if both of them will. Seahawks, Falcons. I mean, I don't know what to say about the Seahawks. Seahawks are actually just one of the most fraudulent teams in the fucking NFL. Oh my gosh, my hair. Look at that fucking thing. Damn. How long y'all let me do that? Just because they look good, they look good half the time and they look horrible the other half. They lost DK Metcalf for maybe a week, so we'll see how that transpires. But Geno Smith, he looks fine. Like, he's playing good, and then he plays kind of not good. Then he plays kind of good, and it's rinse and repeat. Kenneth Walker got involved despite this being actually a pretty good game in Seahawks' favor. They didn't run the ball a whole lot. DK, like I said, is out for probably 1 week, but he's looking good. I mean, he's looking like a number one receiver. He hasn't looked like that all the time the past. Noah Fant's being used. Tyler Lockett's still alive because JSN can't do the job. So that's something. Seahawks defense, I mean, still kind of not great. Despite the 2 interceptions, it was just Kirk Cousins being pretty bad, I'm going to be honest with you. Kirk Cousins did not look great this game. Neither did their their receivers, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, it was not good. Bijan actually had a pretty damn good game. I think this is one of his first touchdowns of the year, so good for Bijan. They were able to run up a little bit, but when they were so behind, they had to keep on throwing. The person who was doing the best was probably Kyle Pitts. I mean, yes, Drake London caught a couple good passes, but like their offenses overall was not getting efficiently up the field, while the Seahawks were just booming down the field. So, whatever. Defensively, Falcons did not very good. Let's just be honest with you. They didn't do very good. They let up a lot of things, and it was not a great looking game for Kirk Cousins, the Falcons. Seahawks, I don't anticipate them making the playoffs. Falcons, I still think they're going to be a good wild card seed type deal. Either way, we'll see how those transpire in the future. Packers, Texans, 2 banger teams. I'm actually very surprised it ended up the way it did. I say banger teams because I'm meaning going into this game. The Texans actually look really bad this game. Packers looked pretty good this game. Stroud just was not his game. Joe Mixon, though, shows that he was the one carrying this team. And in this offense where maybe C.J. Stroud and Joe Mixon in the future will help kind of even out the pressures, even out the performances, this team, Texans, could make a damn good run. Dalton Schultz was the biggest yardage at 28 and with 1 reception. Stephon Diggs is like the check down guy. I shouldn't say check down guy, but like small pass guy. Defensively, the Texans were carrying as much as they could. They did for a little bit. They held out for a little bit. Then the Packers eventually kind of started getting away with it. The Texans started getting kind of getting things rolling with Joe Mixon. Jordan Love looked good, but like in the sense of like he looked, I don't even know what to say. He just looked good. 2 interceptions is kind of ugly, but also at the same time 3 touchdowns, pretty damn good. Josh Jacobs performing very, very well. Of course, they were kind of also not too much ahead throughout the game, so they kind of had to play their cards right with Josh Jacobs, but it looked good. The receiving core, I mean, it was Romeo Doubs' day, but Wicks, Tucker Kraft, and Josh Jacobs all got a touchdown in the air. So, I mean, this offense in general is very spread out, which is very good for Jordan Love. He has a bunch of different weapons that maybe aren't number 1s, but they are all at least number 2s. Packers defense always performing decently well, but they didn't really put up the number of stats across the board as you would hope in this kind of game, especially against in a game where Stroud didn't throw for 100 yards. You'd think the defensive stats were a lot better, but they just, again, covered well, did well, stopped Stroud when they needed to. Simple and to the point, So good on the Packers. Both these teams are going to be contenders in their conference. Bengals finally starting to get a little bit bounce back, finally kind of getting an easier matchup against Cleveland Browns in the division, of course. So maybe the Bengals start kind of winning from here and kind of start upping their win totals, maybe up to like 9-8, 10-7. Cleveland Browns they're done for the season. I mean, Deshaun Watson's out. They're just kind of seeing if Winston can work out and see if they can pull together some kind of season. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a second. But Joe Burrow, another fine game from him. Not anything too much. Chase Brown is like the guy there now. Zach Moss is just not very good at all. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase still sharing the shares here pretty well. They're going to kind of fluctuate in between. But Jamar Chase will have the higher ceilings. T. Higgins will have higher floors, et cetera, that type of deal. Otherwise, I mean, there's not really much to talk about their offensive weapons. I mean, Zach Moss was involved in the receiving game, I guess, but not very much. I probably can decrease this a little bit, but not really too worried about it. Boom, bada, bing. Then we got defense. Bengals defense has never been great, but they competed really well against Deshaun Watson when he was in there, and then Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. None of them could get anything together, so the Bengals defense actually looked pretty good, but I don't anticipate that being the case in the future. Deshaun Watson came out there, and of course, did what Deshaun Watson was. He was just completing short passes. Dorian Thompson-Robinson looked horrible. Jameis Winston looked like he was piecing something together, but also it was near the end of the game, so, like, did he really? Nick Chubb came back, and while he wasn't very good on the ground, he did get a touchdown, so shout out to my boy Nick Chubb. I'm glad to see you doing well, bro. Just glad to see you doing well. Receiving-wise, David Njoku is easily number one guy there now. Jerry Jeudy, unfortunately, probably won't be going forward. Cedric Tillman, kind of emerging. I don't think he'll hold that role either. It's going to be a very split backfield. Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman. I'm not too happy about this offense, but we'll see who Jameis Winston really likes, so we'll just see. It'll pan out the way it is. Defense for the Browns, I mean, they kind of just got, again, some lucky things here and there. They kind of pieced together something, because, again, the O-line for the Bengals is good, but, like, not great. Not great. So, yeah, that's kind of how that game went. Eagles-Giants. Eagles smashed the Giants. Giants, not even much to talk about here. Jalen Hurts didn't need to do much. Saquon Barkley basically put the team on his back. Kenneth Gainwell got a bunch of garbage time. A.J. Brown got most of the receptions. Defensively, the Eagles dominated. The O-line, the Giants, simple and to the point. Nothing really to talk about there. Daniel Jones didn't look good at all. Tyrone Tracy didn't look good at all. Devin Singletary didn't look good at all. Malik Neighbors was like a slight shining piece. Wan'Dale Robinson was still doing his PPR role. 8.3 points in this game, by the way, in 6 receptions, 23 yards. Insane. Defense for the Giants, it looks like they did well, but a lot of that, again, came near the end of the game where it really didn't fucking matter. So, good on you, Giants. You are not contenders. Eagles, you're still going to be contenders in that in NFC League. Well, and poor Rams, they are barely squeaking out these fucking wins because the Raiders looked horrible, and the Rams still just could not piece together an offensive drive that, like, actually meant something for a minute. Alexander Madison is a bright spot there because Amir White has been phased out of this offense completely. Brock Bowers, main weapon there. Otherwise, not too much to talk about. Defensively, Raiders are in shambles. I mean, the Rams aren't much better, but at least they're kind of piecing together something. Matthew Stafford's not great, but Kyron Williams pieced together a pretty all-right game. Otherwise, receiving across the board was not great. Cooper Kupp's supposed to be coming back, so we'll see. Oh, also didn't talk about Deshaun Watson getting injured because it wasn't really notable, so I really don't care. But yeah, rip Deshaun Watson. I would normally say prayer. You know what? Fine, prayers up. Prayers up. All right. You know, I'm not a hypocrite. Not a hypocrite. I don't choose one or another. Hope he gets well. No one deserves it. It's hard to say sometimes, but no one deserves it. Rams defense though was carrying the team quite a bit against the Raiders. But again, it's the Raiders offense. They never look good, and they never do. So both these teams, Rams will end up more like close to 7-10 type deal. Raiders will still stay near the bottom of the pack. So nothing too notable there. Panthers, Commanders. I mean, Panthers, considering you face off against a backup quarterback for most of this game, and the defense for this and for the Commanders is just like a big Band-Aid. You made them look like $1 million. Nothing was good on offense. I mean, Chuba got touches, I guess. That's about it. Defensively, the Panthers were in shambles. There's nothing to note here. Most of this was in garbage time. Commanders had like 32 points by the fucking first half. Brian Robinson Jr. looked good. Mariota looked like $1 million, like back in his prime, which wasn't very good in itself, but like, damn. LaCorin still was the guy that benefited the most. Zach Ertz found the end zone. I mean, Commanders' defense, again, looks so good. Even though the stats aren't there, the Panthers couldn't do anything. They did not convert one single fucking drive, it felt like, until near the end of the game when it didn't fucking matter. So good on you, Panthers. Commanders, I think they're favored to win their division. That's kind of fucking crazy, is it not? I don't know if they will. That's going to be kind of a question mark because I'm wondering it'll be really dependent on if Jaden Daniels can start playing pretty soon. But Panthers, number one pick time. At least you got your own actual number one pick this time. And Bryce Young's back in play this next week, so good on you. Chiefs 49ers, I hated this game. I hated just watching because the Chiefs win. Patrick Mahomes is front runner for MVP, but has like 8 interceptions to 6 touchdowns. Go fuck yourself, NFL, if you're going to suck his dick. Holy mackerel. I saw that stat, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's still a contender with more interceptions and touchdowns. Granted, I think he's going to turn it around. Usually Patrick Mahomes starts taking something in the back of his head like after the game. Or after near the end of the season, but whatever. Rushing, Kareem Hunt's actually being really, really damn good in that fucking offense, which is also really excruciating because Kareem Hunt shouldn't be doing well. The offense in general, everybody's getting love one way or the other. Travis Kelce's not getting as much as you would think. Noah Gray was the guy who shined this time, but they just got DeAndre Hopkins, so I imagine he's going to be a lot more, at least to attract attention away from other receivers. Who knows? I mean, the Chiefs just did great on the ground. Their defense is amazing, too. They made stops on the 49ers. 49ers didn't have any weapons. Brock Purdy threw 3 picks because of course he is. Jordan Mason didn't do very well. The run game in general didn't do very, very well. George Kittle was the one bright spot on offense. Brandon Ayuk got hurt and is out for the season. Get well soon, bro. Seriously, Ricky Purcell, maybe we'll get more time in that offense, but we'll see. Juwan Jennings should be coming back here pretty soon. 49ers defense, I wish I could say better things. I mean, I get they did fine in the secondary. I get some shitting on this team. They did fine in the secondary, but their defensive line was just not stopping the run. They weren't getting to Mahomes very often, so he wasn't pressured. It's just insane. Whatever. I hate the 49ers. 49ers are still going to be like fringe. Well, I mean, they're going to be a wild card team definitely, but like it sucks. Chiefs, they're going to be number 1 seed. They're already going to go fucking 17-0, win the Super Bowl, and everybody's going to be pissed. Moral of the story. But you know who's going to be even more pissed? The fucking Aaron Rodgers and not making the playoffs because he sucks. Because he's actually bad and he's blaming his teammates and he's horrible. And his coach is fired. And now he's just basically the pseudo coach with his new interim coach. Whatever. He didn't look great. I mean, he didn't look bad either. Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson there actually was a pretty good duo for Rodgers. Breece Hall wasn't his most efficient time. Breece Hall in the air, though, pretty damn good. But on the ground could use a lot more work. Maybe if Braylon Allen took more of that role and Breece Hall became more of the receiving back. I don't know. We'll see. But, man, Devontae Adams, while he didn't have a great showing, he definitely took a lot of attention away from Garrett Wilson, who had some opportunities, and he definitely dropped the ball. Garrett Wilson's this is a big game for him to drop that. I mean, they're 2-5. The Jets at this point are going to be just missed the playoffs. Defensively, the Jets actually, one of their worst games, are actually getting worse over time, I noticed, with the defense. Granted, they play Steelers, which have a very consistent offense, and who knew Russell Wilson would have the best game of his career since leaving the Seahawks on his game back? Okay, I just hate this week. You know what? I think this is going to be, I hate this week. This is going to be the moral of the story. Najee Harris. Wow, he's actually doing damn good, and Jaylen Warren came out and actually was a good supplemental target, but Najee Harris actually did better. George Pickens is alive because Russell Wilson's in play. Pat Freiermuth actually has a role in this offense. Oh my gosh, holy crap, the Steelers actually might be contenders because they're 5-2. Granted, I think they're going to lose like next couple games because that's what they've been doing, but guess who's going to be 10-7 again? Fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations, guys. You're going to be a wild card team. Or actually, you may win your division at this point. Who knows how the Baltimore Ravens do. High power offense again with the Ravens-Bucks game. Let's talk about two things. Number one, Derrick Henry's pace. He's set to record the rushing record in a single season. Good on you, Derrick Henry. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans going out. Probably Mike Evans for like 5 weeks. Chris Godwin for the season. Both those guys get better soon. Seriously, outside of I know a lot of people have been saying about fantasy and all that, but like in seriousness, those are some not great stuff that happened to those guys. Hopefully they get better. I love both those guys. I think they've been doing awesome stuff. So now Baker Mayfield has to piece something together on this offense. K. Doughton has stepped up quite a bit. Jalen McMillan could make the step up. Sterling Shepard could do something, but it's just going to be really tough for the Bucs at this point. Ravens, they're going to be contenders in the AFC. Bucs, unfortunately, I think you may be losing that division spot. Now that I think about it, you originally said the Falcons were going to lose that division spot, but at this point, I think it may be you guys, unfortunately, just based on your current status. But you may still do it. Lamar Jackson had a great game. Derrick Henry, slow first half, but still did damn well. Even found the end zone in the air. Mark Andrews, he's actually alive. He found the end zone twice. Pretty damn cool. Otherwise, not really too much to note. Ravens defense did pretty good. Baker had to take some shots, and it just didn't work out. So Baker, damn good game himself. Again, 2 interceptions. It's kind of unfair in this case. He had to take some important shots, and they just didn't work out. Rachaad White, pretty good on the ground, but also pretty good in the air. So pretty damn awesome to see. K. Doughton, like I said, main target there. Unfortunately, Chris Godwin get better soon. Bucky Irving could be even more efficient in the air. Rachaad White, at least down the field, but Rachaad White's very efficient in the short term. Then we got defense. Bucks defense is actually doing all right. I wish I could say they did better, but I mean, when you have Derrick Henry running through you, the fact they subdued him for one half is actually pretty impressive. Lamar Jackson, I mean, he just had a stellar game. He looked good. He played good. It just was tough for the Bucs. This is a tough game for the Bucs to be in. And Chargers, Cardinals, both trash teams are going to be like 7-10, 8-9, maybe. We'll say 7-10, maybe 6-11. Herbert, a lot of yardage. It was against the Cardinals, the secondary. They didn't look good at all. I know this looks impressive. Justin Herbert was playing against a bunch of clowns. It just was not. It was not indicative of how good the offense for the Chargers is. J.K. Dobbins, not very good on the ground. Will Dissly's now the main target in Los Angeles outside of Joshua Palmer, Laviconki just trying to get involved, but Will Dissly took all the fucking targets away, so go figure. I think the Cardinals did win with a last-minute field goal, so very good on them. Chargers, again, while they put up a lot of good offensive things, their defense did not show out. But at the same time, they also did because Kyler did not look good. And I don't know if this is a Kyler thing, but Kyler has not looked great the last few games. Is he really the guy there in Arizona? I don't know. I'm kind of these last couple games have really made me think: is Kyler actually good, or is he actually just kind of like riding the tails of, I look good, I'm good on the ground, I scramble well, I put up decent numbers and don't look atrocious. I'm startable. Keep me in, please. That's kind of the weird part about like Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, who's another good example of someone who plays well enough to not get benched or to get, think about cut, and they also make a crap ton of money because they have such high draft capital invested in them. He kind of falls in that category, and I hate to compare him to it, but it's kind of in that, like, is that worth it to keep around type deal. But, I mean, obviously Kyler's still a startable quarterback. It's an interesting conversation to come up now. James Conner, good on the ground. Not really much to say there. Trey McBride, still pretty damn good. And Cardinals defense, they held them to 15 points, I guess. Congratulations. Whatever. This was a whatever game, mostly field goals, mostly just nothing interesting happening, and the Cardinals won with a last-minute field goal. Congratulations. Both these teams will still be 7-10. Hope you all did enjoy the video. I'll put predictions here pretty soon. Again, some more changes. Unfortunately, we did have another dropout with the predictions when it comes to YouTubers, so I'm just scrambling to find YouTubers. I just replaced it, and then someone else dropped out, and I'll talk about that in the next video. But we'll see. Hopefully, y'all do enjoy. I'll see y'all in the next video.